How's it going, YouTube? I'm ZachAttack2995, and that's Zach with a K, 9H, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my analysis, theories, and thoughts and interpretations of the new Darren Aronofsky film Mother, starring Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence. Now, if you guys want a non-spoiler, kind of my first thoughts and pretty much what I thought of the movie and my grade, I have that on my channel, where it's pretty much just me literally walking out of the theater and I'm telling you guys like what I thought of the movie and I gave it my grade. So it's on my channel. However, for this video, since I'm going to be diving into a majority of the film's plot to pretty much give my thoughts and analysis, this is a huge spoiler warning. So if you don't want to know anything about this and you just want to watch the movie first, you can do that. Close down this video, watch the movie, and then come back and watch this. But if you're the type of person that doesn't really give a shit about spoilers and you just want to know my thoughts and what the big hubbub is about, then that's cool too. Then just stick around. So now that we got that out of the way, let's begin. The movie opens up with a house burning down and a woman who is scarred and burning up appears on screen and the house blows up. Now after this, Javier Bardem's character, him, places a large crystal on a stand and blows into it. After this, the burnt out house reforms into a new, beautiful house, and Jennifer Lawrence's character, Mother, literally appears from thin air on the bed and looks for him. Now, before I go any further with this, I believe that Javier Bardem, or him, is actually God. And I believe that Jennifer Lawrence's character, Mother, represents Mother Earth, and the house itself represents the Earth, or the world that we live in. So now that I got that out of the way, let's continue with this. So, him is struggling with a serious writer's block because he's an acclaimed poet, and they pretty much, him and Jennifer Lawrence's character live together in a house that's secluded from everyone else apparently, because there's just a house and then there's a never-ending field of grass, which is just devoid of all people and another sort of population. So they live in this quiet little house of theirs when all of a sudden Ed Harris's character comes in, and he looks pretty ill, but he's ecstatic to meet him, who is played by Javier Bardem, and he says that he's a huge fan of his work. Now, he's coughing up and he's having a fit one day, and when Mother comes in to check on him, we see that there's a wound on his side. So after this, Ed Harris says that he's fine, and Michelle Pfeiffer's character shows up claiming to be Ed Harris's wife, much to the surprise of him and Mother. Now, before I go any further with that, I believe that Ed Harris is playing Adam and Michelle Pfeiffer is playing Eve, because if you notice with the wound on Ed Harris's side, I believe that's pretty much a representation of, in the Bible, when God took a piece of Adam's ribs and made Eve with it. So now that I got that out of the way, let's continue with this. So Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Mother, says that they have 2 kids, and all of a sudden one day they show up and they have this huge argument because Ed Harris apparently signed a deed for one of the sons to have all the money and didn't include the other son. And the other son becomes jealous and ends up hitting his brother with a doorbell, killing him. Now this, in my opinion, is a clear representation of the brothers Cain and Abel, who in the Bible, Cain killed Abel out of jealousy. After the killing of the brother, Javier Bardem, Ed Harris, and Michelle Pfeiffer disappear, and Jennifer Lawrence cleans up the blood. Now, while she's cleaning up the blood, she places a rug over it, and the floor starts to bleed, pretty much staining the carpet. Now, my interpretation of that is pollution. I feel like that represents the fact that man damages the earth, and no matter how much we want to sweep it under the rug, it's still there. Now, that's just my thoughts. I haven't really seen anyone say that. So, that's my interpretation of that. Because I know that fact has actually confused a lot of people. Where they're like, why is the floor bleeding? I believe it's just a representation of pollution and pretty much hurting the environment. And no matter how much you try to hide it, it's still happening. So, after that, there's a wake for the death of the brother. And a bunch of people come in, and they pretty much wreck the house. Mother keeps telling people to get off the counter because it's not sturdy enough, and the people are just like jumping all over it, and it breaks, and she's screaming at the guests to get out, and there's a huge thing of water. A pipe breaks, water is flooding the room, and it's raining outside, and I believe that represents the flood from Noah's Ark. So, before I continue with that, though, let me explain something else. I believe that the book that Ed Harrison's character said he was a fan of is the Old Testament, which is in correlation with Cain and Abel and Adam and Eve and all that, so that's pretty much where I came up with that for. So, after that, Jennifer Lawrence's character, Mother, says that Javier Bardem never wants to have sex with her, and he changes this by having sex with her, and she finds out later that she's pregnant. Javier Bardem is so ecstatic that he finally gets the idea for a story, and I believe the poem that he writes that makes Jennifer Lawrence's character cry is the New Testament, which in the movie later plays a role. So after this, we're told that the book or the poem has sold out in one day, and a huge flock of people suddenly appear, and they all want to meet Javier Bardem. Jennifer Lawrence asks what they're doing, and he replies with, "They want to see me." So he pretty much has autographs with them, he does signings, he takes pictures with them, and it gets to the point where it gets so out of control that war breaks. People are rioting against each other, and people are killing each other, and it just spirals so out of control. And I feel like, and this is just me personally, I feel like this is a representation of how people view the Bible, how we've had wars over religion, how people have blessed each other in God's name, because we see people take like black ink and they rub it against people's like heads and faces, and I feel like this spiraling out of control is people just having their own interpretations of the Bible, and they're pretty much saying, hey, you're wrong, you're supposed to do it this way, and they're like, no, you're wrong, you're supposed to do it this way, and it just gets to the point where everyone loses control, and they kill each other in the name of God. That, again, that's just me personally. So, after this, Jennifer Lawrence ends up having the baby, and after this, Javier Bardem is like, hey, I want people to meet him, and Jennifer Lawrence is like, no, they're gonna kill him, no. So she pretty much tries to stay awake, keeping watch of Javier Bardem, who's staring at her, and finally she drifts to sleep, and after waking up for a second, the baby's gone, and Javier Bardem has the baby in his hands, putting it in the crowd of people, and the baby just surfs along the crowd, which is not a good idea, because after this first we see the baby go down, and then we hear a horrific snapping sound. Jennifer Lawrence races down the stairs, and she sees that the baby's dead, and there's like chunks of... So wait, hold on. Because this part is actually really, really disturbing. So just bear with me when I try to describe this. So Jennifer Lawrence goes down the stairs to see, and she's screaming at them, "You killed my baby!" And we see on a little pedestal that there's a small baby's corpse on there, and we see people eating the flesh of the baby. Ew, gross. So, and I don't know if you guys got this, but I believe that this is a representation of Jesus. So, being the son of the earth and God, and the people eating the flesh of the baby, because in the Bible, it's said that when you drink wine, you're drinking the blood of Christ, and when you eat bread, you're eating the flesh of God. The flesh of Jesus. So I believe that's a quite horrific and disturbing way of interpreting that, but I feel like it's there for people to catch. So Mother is completely horrified. She's screaming at people. She's killing people with a shard of glass. The people start beating on her. And Javier Bardem comes down to save her, and he says that they want forgiveness. He's like, please, they're sorry. Just forgive them. And she's like, no, they killed my baby. No, they gotta pay. So Jennifer Lawrence goes down to the basement, and so before that, she went down to the basement before and opened up there's a furnace down in the basement, and it turned on, and I believe that's pretty much representing hell, because there's a bit of an area where a frog pops out, and there's just like this void of emptiness. So Jennifer Lawrence goes down to the basement, takes a match, douses gasoline on the little area, and she pretty much says that you never truly loved me. You always cared about them more than me. And she lights herself on fire, and the house blows up just like in the beginning of the movie. However, Javier Bardem's character is completely unharmed, and Jennifer Lawrence is seen burnt to a crisp. Javier Bardem is holding her in his arms, and she asks him, "What are you?" And he replies, I don't remember what he said, but he pretty much says that he is creation, and all he can do is create. So he asks Jennifer Lawrence for one more thing, and she says, "I've given you everything." And he replies with, "No, I need your love. You still have it, right?" So he reaches into Jennifer Lawrence's chest, rips her heart out, which when in the movie, Jennifer Lawrence is touching the house, and we see like this heartbeat, and the more intense the situation gets, the heart starts to shrivel up and die. So he takes the shriveled up heart, squeezes it, and we see the same crystal formed from the beginning of the movie. He blows into it, puts it on the stand, and the house again returns back to normal, and instead there's a different looking woman in the bed, and the movie ends. So I believe what the ending represented was the apocalypse or Revelation. It's pretty much the end of the world. And I believe that the whole cycle of it starting over again can be interpreted in two ways. One way could be reincarnation or rebirth, pretty much starting all over again. Or the other theory, which is a bit of a mind scratcher or a head scratcher, is pretty much the fact that Javier Bardem is pretty much gone through a cycle of this, and he's trying to change little things little by little, but the same result happens. So he tries to tweak it more and more and more, but it just never works because key events keeps happening, and there's just a endless loop of him doing it over and over and over again. And oh boy, my head hurts. So one more thing before I leave. So in the beginning of the movie, Javier Bardem says that a certain room where the crystal is at is off limits. Don't go in there. Michelle Pfeiffer's character who plays Eve says, "Hey, I want to go up there," and Jennifer Lawrence is like, "No, you can't do that. That's a private area." So we hear a crashing sound, and Javier Bardem goes into the room to see Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer, and the crystal is broken. He gets angry, screaming at them to get out, and he even goes as far as like boarding up the room. And I believe that's pretty much when God expelled Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, and the crystal represented the fruit of knowledge. So, wow. Is that enough for you guys? I sure hope so, because I think I spent enough time explaining this. So, Let me know what you guys thought about all my interpretations and analysis down in the comment section below. And as always, guys, rock out and scream, cuckoo, bye bye.